Welcome back, beautiful people. This is the Second Legacy, and thank you so much for stopping by. Today, we have got to make this amazing cake of freedom. We're going to dress it up with some delicious sarcasm on top. But honestly, the fruit filling is where it's at, right there in the middle, because that is where the truth lies. And that's what we're going to do because we have got to talk about the safest of storage laws today. And I cannot wait to hear what you guys think right down there in the comments field. Of course, like the channel, hit the subscribe button, and share this with a friend that you really care about because we've got to do Goofy Gun Grabbers. We're going to say a quick word about a really cool company that we are going to introduce you to, and then we're going to walk through this Goofy Gun Grabbers. All right, so today we're going to talk about something, Tim. I think this is going to be fascinating. Okay, so there's a new company that I've come across, and they want you to know about it. But I'll be honest with you, man, this intrigues me. All right, this is called Ammo Squared. Okay, so listen to the overall idea and just give me your initial gut on this. So what they do is they've taken the elements of investing and of 401ks, and they've partnered with ammo storage, and they've made it into one individual solution. Now, does that intrigue you at a high level, or am I crazy?
Well, no, actually, it seems really interesting to me. I've told people before to invest in ammunition because
Right.
it seems like the cost of ammo is constantly going up, and people always need ammunition. It would be
Right.
pretty neat to be able to tuck some away as an investment.
So
That's pretty cool.
Exactly. That's exactly how they're doing it. So let me just walk you through how this works. So this company, Ammo Square, they're family owned and they're operated and they've been in business for like 8 years. What effectively they do is you put your investment capital into an account, and whenever you want to cash it out, magic, everything that you've been storing up for X amount of time and whatever differentiation that you want shows up. So instead of being at the mercy of the fluctuating market prices and the lack of availability, you've been doing it over time, and then you get what you need, but you're taking advantage of time and not the variable fluctuations in the market and availability. It's actually really
Yeah,
clever.
that's a neat concept. I find that to be truly fascinating.
I love talking about companies that intrigue me, but this one has no minimums to buy. They have no memberships needed, no extra fees, and they can literally do whatever they want on whatever budget they want. It is essentially, I mean, that's the best way to describe it, is it's actually an investment on your freedom seeds. I mean, like that. There's no better way to say it.
Exactly. That's how I would say it. And it certainly seems like an interesting service. I would definitely encourage people
Yeah.
to check that one out.
Yeah, check it out. I mean, it's called Ammo Square, but we just ran across it. They threw it our way, and I was genuinely intrigued. So I hope you guys enjoy looking at that.
Well, Braden, check this one out. You know, I spend every morning on X trying to find something goofy a gun grabber has said, and it doesn't take much searching to find something. I mean, it's pretty much every time they open their mouths or run their fingers on a keyboard. So I came across this person. I don't think they have a very big following, but this stuff pops in my feed because of the things that I read and respond to. So I get these anti-gun posts popping in my feed fairly regularly. And so old Kristen Song had this to say. She's calling out Senator Rick Scott and Senator Mark Rubio. Keeping children safe should be your number one priority. No period. Why are they always illiterate? Locking up guns so children can't gain access is good parenting and responsible gun ownership. It wasn't an accident. She didn't put a period in that one either. Co-sponsor Ethan's Law so these 100% preventable tragedies end. And you should have ended that with a period, Kristen. But anyway, and then she puts a screenshot up of a CBS News article about a boy 12 accidentally shot himself in the head. And so that's a tragedy. But she's blaming the fact that we don't have more gun control that this child had an accident. What's one thing that I'm always pushing for? I think should be put back into schools. If you could bring up number 18, Doc, here's my response to old Kristen, and then I want to hear what you have to say, Braden.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thought. Put firearm safety back into schools. In a nation where we have 400 million guns, more than we have people, it's highly irresponsible to not teach basic safety like we used to. The blood is on the anti-gunners' hands once again. So that's where I went with this.
That is where you went with this. Well, I think I can add some context because do you actually know who Kristen Song is?
No.
Prominent
gun grabber? I'm going to have to follow her.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
you're always up on these people.
I'm going to tie this to, I know. It's a sickness I have. Well, Kristen Song, and I never forget a name. So
I know.
Kristen Song, I will. She is the mother of Ethan Song.
Oh.
Ethan Song
Now
Uh-huh.
there's the tie-in.
Ethan's song, there's the tie-in. Ethan's song is the child who unfortunately was at a neighbor's house and they were playing with firearms that were
Locked up.
completely isolated away, and they had keys on
Yeah.
them, or locks on them rather. And unfortunately, he was killed when they were playing with the guns at a neighbor's house. In response to that, Kristen Song partnered with Chris Murphy and got Ethan's Law passed in Connecticut. That's the backstory there. So the reason that she's hitting Ethan's Law right here is because that is her son's namesake law
Gotcha.
that they've been trying to pass through Ethan's Law through Safe Storage across the entire spectrum federally.
Yep.
So that's why she's so important. And that's why she doesn't have a big following,
No.
but she's always in gun control organizations. She's always witnessing. She's always in front of Congress.
Right.
And the gun controllers utilize her and her story in order to push this law because it suits the need for mandatory safe storage, which, of course, Tim, requires what?
A gross violation of the Fourth and Fifth Amendments.
Yeah.
So, and we'll get into that. So I moused over her name, which I typically do, and basically what pops up is a brief breakdown of who she is, which does mention Ethan in there. I'm surprised I missed that, but yeah, 13,000 followers. If you actually click on her profile on X, then the banner at the top literally says "Help pass Ethan's Law." So,
right,
that was
no, it makes total sense.
Makes total sense. Yet what she's proposing makes no sense.
Zero
because
sense.
Ethan's Law would mandate that you lock up your firearms for threat under the penalty of law should your child accidentally shoot themselves or shoot somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is, well, first of all, we have federal laws that say that the government can't track gun owners and what they own. So how do you enforce a safe storage law without knowing what everybody has and whether or not it's stored safely or
Correct.
not? And on top of that, how do you confirm it is stored safely? Do you do what they do in Germany, which is you'll get a random knock at the door at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesday, and they'll say, hey, we're here to make sure your guns are stored safely, and you have to let them in or you get arrested?
Right.
How do you enforce this? And worse is that Ethan's Law wouldn't have stopped what happened to her son because they circumvented a lock that was on the gun, but she won't tell you that.
Correct. Nope. Correct. Because it's about assigning value and a positive outcome of some sort in nature to assuage the pain that they feel. And genuinely, a moment of full humanity. I cannot imagine the pain that this person would go through and probably is still going through with this. Genuinely. But at the exact same time, to your point, if education had been brought in rather than making guns this taboo thing that you can never see, need to talk about, think about, hear about, instead of making them that, maybe make it a educational standpoint, because honest to God, I can't predict the future. I can't say what woulda, coulda, shoulda, but if there was an education involved in this, would that have made a different outcome versus a mandatory nanny state, which has to know where your guns are, violation of federal law, has to be able to do random checks for accountability against the law, and then also aids in a universal background check system, which is actually required. I don't know what's easier.
Yeah. And what sticks out to me is the whole last sentence that she said, co-sponsor Ethan's Law so these 100% preventable tragedies end. Ethan's Law is a safe storage law, lock up your gun law, 100% preventable, Kristen. There was safe storage with the firearm that your son had an accident with. Does that make it 99% effective? Because what this law doesn't do, and this is where I'm going, is it doesn't prevent anything. Punishing somebody after the fact doesn't prevent tragedies.
Correct.
How you prevent tragedies like this, accidents, is through education. We would apply that logic to any other facet of life, any other thing in life, cars, all the stuff that the anti-gunners like to compare guns to.
Well, the left does it. No, here's a perfect example. The left does it with sex.
Right.
That is one of the things that they do consistently. Is you don't need to make sex a taboo topic. If you teach children and students how to have sex responsibly, then they're not going to have the negative outcomes, and they're going to provide all the different things and all the different contraceptions and all the different solutions in case the worst thing happens. But they taught them from the age of around 8 all the way forward, and it doesn't seem to work there. but all of a sudden mandatorily checking on all of your constitutional rights, that right there, that's going to work. It just doesn't make sense on any level. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And it's truly unfortunate. I mean, I hate being a parent myself. What had happened to her and her family and her son. I mean, that is absolutely horrible. I couldn't even fathom that type of a loss. But what I am pretty sure I wouldn't do in the face of such tragedy is demand other Americans give up their rights in response. So that's as a parent, and like you said, the humanity side of this, it's absolutely horrible what happened to Ethan. But please, Kristen, take a step back and look at this in a broader picture, and stop focusing so narrowly on this one single bill, because it's not going to change the outcome. It wouldn't have changed the outcome in your case. So please think about this a little bit more. I don't think appealing to her, she'll never watch this video, is going to accomplish much, but gosh, man, I don't know how else to address this with her. I don't post a response directly to her. Matter of fact, she actually made it so you cannot comment on this. If you actually go to the post that she made, she blocks anybody that she doesn't follow from commenting on it. So obviously she gets an earful.
Well,
but
I get it. I mean, she is jumping into a hyper partisan thing, and I mean, I understand that, especially with the topic that it's around. Yeah. I understand not wanting to hear a lot about it, but I think it really boils down to what you just said, and there's an element of humanity to it, which is incredibly important. But at the same time, are you willing to risk the rights that are guaranteed and protected for a emotional reaction to a horribly tragic story? Right? Because it's kind of, if you put it into a normal everyday thing, like the left really likes to dive into cars, mm-hmm. right? They really love to say that guns, should be like cars and regulated with a license and all these safety things that are mandated. They love to do that, which is a completely different thing, apples to oranges. But if you look at the utility that the left assigns to cars in the same example, right? Are they going to all of a sudden take cars away?
Well, I mean, if education isn't important, using their car analogy, then do we just turn new drivers loose without driver's ed?
Just let them go,
right? Like, here's the keys.
But that speaks to the same.
Happy 16th. Here's the keys. Go have fun. Or do we teach them?
Correct. Well, but that's the way that it works. The way that our system works is responsibility, education, and you're taught your rights and the importance of your rights.
Yep.
When they removed that from schools 30, 40 years ago, that's when it started going wrong.
Absolutely.
And it's just permeating as we go forward, which is why we talk about things on the Second Legacy, the old SL.
That's true. Pretending guns don't outnumber people in this country is a fool's mistake. And this is why locally and even nationally through social media and things like that, me and other people advocate for bringing firearm safety training back to schools. It only makes sense. Let us know in the comments down below. Does it make sense to you to put firearms training back into school? Would you support that? I do. Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching Second Legacy. We'll talk to you guys soon.